Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to Season 1 Part 2 of What If Deku Had Super Speed. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the story. The video left Izuku with an overwhelming rush of emotions. The emotions he felt were excitement, happiness, amazement, relief, nervousness, and terror. It took Izuku a few minutes to collect his thoughts before he could even sort through the emotions he was feeling. All Might said I read 40 villain points, and I received 50 hero points. Wait, that means I scored 90 points on the practical exam. All Might said I was excited into UA. That is one huge weight lifted off of my shoulders. It took so long to get the acceptance letter that I was beginning to get worried. Izuku muttered in nervous excitement as he let out a deep breath to relax. Wait, did All Might GHT say he would be teaching at UA? The greatest hero is going to be teaching me. Izuku was stuck in his little world as he tried to sort through his emotion. He focused on sorting his feelings out at the doorbell ringing. Inko went to the front door and looked through the peephole to see who was there. She was pleasantly surprised to Katsuki at the door. However, Inko quickly became concerned as she saw a man in a trench coat and a plain-looking fedora standing to the left of Katsuki. Who is it? Inko asked. It's me, Katsuki. And the police officer we spoke to when we registered for the training camp, Katsuki said while keeping his temper in check. Hello, I'm Officer Tsukachi. I was set here by All Might and a few other teachers at UA regarding a training program. They felt it would be better for the students if they had a chance to training with their quirks before the UA school year starts, Tsukachi says as a way to introduce himself. With a sigh of relief, Inko unlocked the door. Inko opens the door and welcomes them in and says, "Please come in. I'm Inko Midoriya. Izuku just got his acceptance letter to UA not too long ago, so he's a bit distracted at the moment." Tsukachi enters the apartment and replies, "Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience this is causing you. Would you like me to go get Deku?" Katsuki asked as he entered the apartment. "Thank you, that would be appreciated, Katsuki. Izuku is in his room right now," Inko said as she closed the door behind both of them. Katsuki started walking to Izuku's room. Katsuki was extremely confused since Izuku wasn't one to get lost in his world like that. As Katsuki got closer to Izuku's room, he started to hear a faint stream of muttering. At first, Katsuki was concerned that maybe Izuku didn't get accepted into UA. But as he got closer, Katsuki started to realize that Izuku was uncharacteristically happy. "Oi, dumbass, you have guests. I heard you finally got a letter from UA," Katsuki said once he got to the door to Izuku's room. Mere seconds later, Izuku opened the door and said, "Kaken, what are you doing here?" "Huh, I didn't hear the doorbell. How oblivious are you? If you want to be a hero, you need to be more aware of your surroundings," Katsuki said as he started to express his frustration. "What did the message say, Deku? You're not going to believe this. All My GHT is going to be teaching at UA. He said that why it took okay so long for me to get the message from UA. Also, I scored 90 points on the practical exam. I was so nervous when I didn't hear anything. Why did you come here, Kaken?" Izuku started muttering rapidly as the rush of emotions he felt earlier emerged once again. Katsuki growled, "Deku, what are you saying? Stop muttering and answer the damn question. We don't have all day, shitty nerd. I got excited into UA. Kaken, also, All Might is teaching at UA. Isn't that great, the #1 hero teaching us?" Izuku said excitedly. "It's why my acceptance letter took so long to get here. Do you want to train tomorrow? Congratulations, Deku. Also, did you just say All Might is teaching at UA?" Katsuki said as he started to get excited as well. "Yes, I said that All Might is teaching UA. Also, why are you here?" Izuku asked as his stammering slowly stopped. "I tagged along when the officer said he was coming here. UA has a training program for incoming students now," Katsuki said as he felt his frustration slowly start to melt away. "Awesome. We should probably head to the dining room. Is it like last time where we can use our quirks?" Izuku said as he started to shake in excitement. "Seems like it. The program starts tomorrow." That extra of an officer seemed annoyed that All Might took so long sending out his messages. Katsuki grumbled as he followed Izuku to the dining room. As the blonde and green-haired boys entered the room, they caught the tail end of the conversation. The two adults were sitting across the table from each other. Both of them had a cup of water to their left. The plain-looking officer said, "The training will take place at Dagaba Beach. Make sure that your son sends a basic design for his costume to the UA support department. Some of the training will involve the use of their hero costumes." "Thank you very much, sir. If I may ask, what type of training is it?" Inko said. "In the beginning, it will be mostly obstacle course, weight training, and quirk training. If the teachers deem the students ready, they will spar with either a student or a teacher," Tsukachi explained and then took a sip from his cup of water. He continued, "Depending on how many students prove trustworthy, the program might have a few villain situations as well." Izuku looked over at his explosive friend and saw a happy look on his face. Izuku couldn't help but feel excited for tomorrow. After a few more minutes of talking about the upcoming training, The officer bid everyone farewells and left. A few hours later, Katsuki left, saying he wanted to get some sleep before the training started tomorrow. Izuku woke up bright and early so he could get to Dagaba Beach early. The green-haired boy left his house in a full-on sprint. He had no intention of showing up to the training late. About 10 minutes later, he arrived at the Dagaba Beach. He was greeted by his blonde-haired friend and the towering figure of his favorite hero, young Bakugo. It seems your concern over your friend's tardiness was misplaced. Look just arrived. All Might said to draw Katsuki's attention to Izuku's arrival. Young Midoriya, how are you today? I hope you got plenty of sleep last night. You guys will complete this obstacle course twice. One circuit will be completed when you first arrive, and the other circuit will be completed before you leave. The blonde boy scoffed and said, Is that it? Are you underestimating us? Ah, young Bakugo, that's not all. You will also be wearing training weights equal to half your body weight, All Might said with a smile. The obstacle course will change each day as well. Once the two boys were adequately weighted down, All Might sent them into the obstacle course. The obstacle course consisted of several stone walls the boys had to climb, several swinging steel beams about 3 feet in diameter, ending off in a maze that the boys had to get through. It took the blonde-haired boy about 10 minutes to complete the obstacle course. It would take another 30 seconds before the green-haired boy finished the obstacle course. Once both boys were finished, All Might had them run the length of the obstacle course. At lunchtime, All Might let them take a break so that they could get something to eat. Neither of them had much energy left to talk. Both had learned to their dismay that they could only take the weights off once they finished for the day. It seemed to the boys that All Might was only getting warmed up. The obstacle course was the easiest thing that they did throughout the day. With a cheerful smile, All Might brought their break to a close and told the two boys to move the cars parked on the beach onto the road. The training pushed the boys to their limits every time. Throughout the day, All Might would either throw something at the boys to dodge or throw a couple of punches at the boys. Each day brought new challenges for the boys to face. Some days, like the first day, were focused on building up the strength the two boys had. Other days were focused on increasing their speed. The boys began to start dreading the days when All Might had them wear their hero costumes. Those were the days when a short older man would meet up with them. Each time he would find new ways to exploit their quirk usage to defeat them in an instant. The older man loved to irritate Katsuki. He also enjoyed staying just out of reach of Izuku to make Izuku impatient and overuse his quirk. Izuku dear, you're going to be late for school if you don't get up soon, his mother said loud enough to wake him up. Sorry, I had a hard time falling asleep. I was so excited about today, Izuku said as he quickly changed into his school uniform. Is breakfast ready? It's on the table, dear. Make sure you have everything you're going to need for today, Enko said before leaving Izuku alone. Izuku ate breakfast quickly and left for UA as soon as he could manage. Once Izuku arrived at UA, he started looking for classroom 1A. He was secretly hoping that he wasn't in the same class as the blue-haired boy who called them out for talking during the entrance exam. Izuku also hoped that he wasn't in the same class as Katsuki. It was starting to getting annoying, listening to him complain about Izuku's tardiness. Those hopes were quickly dashed as he got to class 1A. As he entered the room, he saw his childhood best friend sitting at his seat with his feet on the desk. It seems that you turned over a new leaf, Deku, Katsuki called out once he saw Izuku. That is disrespectful to our upperclassmen who once used these very seats, the blue-haired boy said. Do I look like I give damn 4 eyes? Mind your own business extra, Katsuki growled at the boy. That is a vulgar thing to say and do, the boy said, waving his arm up and down before turning to see who entered the classroom. I recognize you. You're the green-haired boy who fought the zero-pointer. That was very impressive. You must have seen the true nature of the test. I apologize for my actions during the exam. I am Tenya Ida. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I didn't figure anything out. Izuku stuttered as he was utterly shocked by Ida. All I did was try to help people who looked like they needed help. Hey, I recognize you. You're the plain-looking one who fought the zero-pointer to save me, a brunette girl said in a bubbly tone from behind Izuku. My name is Achako Uraraka. Thank you for helping me during the exam. If you're here to make friends, you can leave. Get inside the classroom and take your seats, a messy-haired person tiredly said as he got out of his yellow sleeping bag. Everyone quickly went to their seats and quieted down as the man made his way to the front of the class. It took you guys 8 seconds to quiet down. That is far too much time wasted. I am Shota Aizawa. I will be your teacher while you are here at UA. You can call me Aizawa, he said in a low monotone voice. As you can see behind you on the back wall are cases that have your gym uniforms. Put them on and meet me by the track. Excuse me, sir, but don't we have to go to orientation? Tenya asked the teacher. UA isn't a traditional school. That means I can run my class however I see fit, Aizawa said, showing little emotion as he went on. If you want to be a hero, you don't have time to waste on meaningless things like orientation. Other members of the class started complaining as Aizawa simply left the room. Once it became clear that he wasn't coming back, the class quickly grabbed their gym uniforms and went to the locker rooms to change. Izuku was one of the first few people to arrive at the track. The class started to talk amongst themselves until Aizawa arrived. We are going to be doing a physical fitness test. Hero training is rather harsh, so I'm testing to see if you have the physical capabilities to handle it, Aizawa said in a monotone voice. Bakugo, step into that circle. Yes, sir, Katsuki said as he went over to the circle. I don't know why society insists on treating everyone as equals, when the reality is the exact opposite, Aizawa said as he tossed a ball to Katsuki. What was your furthest you could throw in middle school? I believe it was 67 meters, sir, Katsuki said. Impressive. Now throw the ball with your quirk this time, Aizawa said as he pulled a device out of his pocket. As Katsuki was throwing the ball, he yelled out, die. Just before he released the ball, he sent off a small explosion, sending the ball flying. The ball sailed through the air. Aizawa watched the numbers on the device continue to go up until it stopped at 800.6 meters. He then turned the device so that everyone could see the number being displayed on the screen. The class started talking to each other very excitedly. This was the first time they would get to use their quirks during the fitness exam. If you think this is fun and games, think again, Aizawa said in a calm tone of voice that silenced the class. The person who scores the lowest in the quirk assessment test gets expelled. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes over the hard facts of the anime presented. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we have a third channel called We The Celestial Naruto What If. We The Celestial Naruto What If mainly focuses on our Naruto What If series. If you are interested in content like this, please go check the description below or click the eye icon in the top right corner. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the story. The class got extremely quiet after that. Everyone in the class looked at each uneased. For a brief moment, the entire field was silent. Isn't that a bit extreme, sensei? We all worked extremely hard just to get into UA. How does a physical test, even with us using our quirks, prove whether or not we can be heroes? Uraraka asked, terrified of the prospect of getting expelled from UA. Life isn't fair. A hero has to rise above any obstacle, Aizawa said, sounding extremely bored at having to explain something so simple. A hero has to be able to rise above any hardship. It wouldn't be logical to coddle you when the world won't. The class looked around nervously. Were the tests even fair to begin with? The first test was the 50-meter dash. Aizawa called each student up one by one. Ada was the first one called to do the test. Ada set the standard for everyone by completing the dash in 3 seconds. Aizawa continued to call the next person. Most of the class failed to even come close to Ada's time, with their times being the same as in canon. Izuku Midoriya, you're the last person, Aizawa called out in a monotone voice. Aizawa waited until Izuku was at the starting line before telling him to sprint. Izuku activated his quirk and felt the familiar heat of the air ionizing around him. At that moment, Izuku ran. Impressive, 2.9 seconds. Alright, on to the next test, Aizawa said. The grip strength test was the same as in canon. During the standing long jump, the only change was that Izuku was able to clear the sandbox. Izuku did slightly better than in canon on the other tests, the only difference being the ball throw. Knowing that his quirk didn't increase his physical strength, Izuku decided to try something with his quirk. He forced his arm to its absolute limit. Once he was sure his quirk was activated to its fullest, Izuku started to throw the ball. At the last possible moment of contact, Izuku forced his index finger into overdrive. The ball rocketed into the air with a trail of ionized gas following it. The ball landed exactly 400.3 meters away. Hey, Deku, when did you figure out that you could do that? Katsuki asked in his usual angry tone. Were you holding back when we sparred together, dumbass? Kaken, you of all people should have more faith in me than that. I know you don't like it when people hold back, Izuku stuttered, trying to explain what happened quickly. I was desperate, so I tried to use my quirk differently. Enough. If you want to be a pro hero, you need to learn to trust your fellow heroes, Bakugo, Aizawa wearily said. When I display the results, I want everyone to be quiet. One student needs to answer a question that I have before we proceed. Aizawa then proceeded to use the device he was recording the results on to display the results. Izuku let out a sigh of relief when he saw that he was in 4th place just behind Katsuki. A small person with purple hair was starting to sweat bullets. After a few seconds, Aizawa turned the device off and turned towards the purple-haired boy. Everyone displayed potential. Aside from Mainta, no one has to worry about being expelled. Mainta, I will ask you one question, Aizawa said as he stared the boy down. You will have 30 seconds to think up your response before I want you to reply. Since you're in dead last, are you willing to go plus ultra and endure some harsh training to catch up to your classmates? I will go beyond plus ultra if I have to, Mainta declared after a few seconds of thought. The class waited in silence as their plain-looking teacher stared their short classmate down. Mineta was staring at Aizawa with all of the intensity that he could manage. Aizawa continued staring at the boy for a bit longer before letting a smile appear on his face. I will need you to head to the principal's office. There is something we will need to clear with him first, Aizawa said in a monotone voice. The threat of expulsion was a logical ruse to get you to try hardest. Mineta, grab your stuff and head to the principal's office. The rest of you change and get back to class. Everyone in the class let out a sigh of relief that one of their classmates wasn't expelled. Most of the class glanced around nervously since Mineta had to be told to collect his stuff. As the class started to leave, Aizawa went over to the side of the building. A tall man in a yellow pinstripe suit with blonde hair was there watching the class. I can see why you're interested in Bakugo and Midoriya. Both of them showed that they had potential, Aizawa said, seemingly unsurprised that the symbol of peace watched the class from the shadows. Why did you come here? I wanted to see what these students could do. Did any of the students catch your eye? All Might asked with a smile on his face. Didn't you once expel a class because you weren't impressed with their results? I have no interest in those who aspire to be a hero without any potential. No one caught my eye. It's far too early in the school year to be picking favorites, Aizawa said flatly. These students shouldn't be coddled since the world won't play nice. I will oversee the after-school training for the 5 students who scored the lowest on today's test. I will take on the 5 or 7 students who show the most potential in tomorrow's hero studies, All Might said with a grin. The rest of the class will be trained by either Cementos or Ectoplasm. The rest of Class 1 was confused by Mineta's disappearance. Aizawa simply continued with the lessons that were planned for on the first day. After the last bell of the day, Aizawa held everyone back to make one final announcement. The 5 of you who scored the lowest will be training with me for 3 hours after school starting tomorrow. I won't tolerate you being late, Aizawa said as he started to leave the class. Sensei, what happened to Mineta? Uraraka asked nervously. I had him take a week-long leave of absence from the school. He was dangerously close to being expelled, Aizawa said with a sigh. During the week he isn't at school, I have him going through intense training. While he is taking a leave of absence from school, I only expect to see the students ranked 16 through 19. As the class struggled to come to terms with what their teacher had just said, Aizawa left. The class was left in shock as they started to gather up their belongings. It wasn't until the students left UA that many of them could find their voices and start up a conversation with their classmates. A boy with a messy green-haired boy walked with his spiky blonde-haired friends when someone walked up to them. Excuse me, my classmates, a tall blue-haired boy with glasses said as he walked up to the 2 boys. What do you want for eyes? Katsuki said in a strangely subdued tone. We are on our way home. After today I wanted to ask Deku here if wanted to continue training together. I was wondering what you thought about our teacher. Ada said, mildly annoyed at Katsuki. I'm heading home as well. It seems we are headed in the same direction. I don't know why he was so focused on the logic of the situation. It almost makes me wonder if he Act 2 ally did expel Mineta, Midoriya started to mutter. He might have been trying to avoid a scene. He seemed entirely focused on a test that's focused on the physical body. I don't think the teacher lied. He doesn't seem like one to lie anyways. Who the hell does that bastard think he for threatening to expel the student who came in last place? Katsuki grumbled in frustration. Deku stopped muttering. It is getting annoying. Besides, we will know in a week if that bastard is telling the truth. Excuse me, can I join in on the conversation? My name is Ochako Uraraka. Uraraka introduced herself happily. You're Tenya Ida, Katsuki Bakugo, and you're Deku Midoriya, right? Deku, Izuku asked questioningly. Isn't that what Bakugo here called you by during the physical test we had today? Uraraka asked, slightly confused. No, Deku is just a nickname Kak-chan has for me, Izuku stuttered. I'm not sure why he started calling me that. I started calling you that nerd because you tended to be extremely clumsy when we were younger, Katsuki said with his usual gruff attitude. Your clumsiness made you useless. That is very unsportsmanlike. Bakugo, you should be respectful to classmates and childhood friends, Ida angrily said while waving his hand up and down like a robot. You should apologize at once. Well, I think Deku sounds like you can do it, Uraraka said happily. The nickname is also kinda cute. It would make a great hero name. Well then, I'm Deku, Izuku said as he started to blush. I can't wait to tell your mother that you have a crush on someone already, Katsuki said as he started to chuckle. Just look at you, blushed Deku. Kak-chan, it's not like he that, Izuku stuttered as he started to cover his face with his arms. Why do you have to me SS with me like he that? It's not very fun and why. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video and editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video. and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have a fantastic day.